13 years ago, many of us watched in horror as the Twin Towers came crumbling down. Images that we will never forget. For the men and women, the first responders called to help that day, this horrible day remains etched in their memories for all time. And Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon has been talking to a former NYPD officer about that very day.
As Sarasota gathered to remember, one officer relived the moments of September 11, 2001.
I worked till about 5 in the morning, overtime on a robbery detail. And about 9 o'clock, my wife called me from her work. Officer
David Van Gostien is now a Sarasota officer. 13 years ago, he was working as a sergeant in Brooklyn for the NYPD.
I woke up, saw the second plane hit, then I was called to work.
Officer Van Gostien arrived at the Twin Towers after the North Tower fell.
And you could see the outline of the towers and where the two towers were.
It's a place where he routinely met his wife.
And we used to go meet in the top of the World Trade for dinner all the time. And by the afternoon, we were standing on top of the pile that was left of the World Trade.
Working alongside other first responders, he worked pulling whoever they could from the rubble. But as night fell, hope seemed to dim.
By the evening, it didn't appear to be a rescue mission anymore.
The city's skyline forever changed in a matter of moments.
A lot of rubble, mostly a lot of white powder. Nothing really recognizable. It was just it was maybe 20, 30 feet high.
But the people living there came together, pulling one another up from the ash. Even 13 years later, it's a day that will remain in their hearts and minds forever.
I think it's a good thing that we have remembrances like this and remember the people that sacrificed their lives.
In Sarasota, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.
Now, the officer, Van Gostien, retired as a sergeant from the NYPD with 20 years experience. He's been working now at the Sarasota Police Department for the past 10 years. The Sarasota Police Department also marked today's anniversary with a memorial ceremony. It was held in front of the World Trade Center Memorial there, where a piece of mangled metal from the towers is also on permanent display. For on this day, 13 years ago, President Bush was in Sarasota visiting Booker Elementary School, and that's when his aide here whispered in his ear that the second tower had been struck and the nation was under attack. For the Sarasota officers assigned to the presidential detail that day, it took a turn nobody would ever expect. And 13 years later, one officer is remembering how the mood shifted to one of urgency. Fox 13's Kimberly Quizon is going to tell you about it.
On September 11, 2001.
It was like a very pretty, peaceful day.
Sarasota Police Sergeant Lori Lee Jarris worked the presidential detail, blocking off traffic as President Bush made his way to Booker Elementary School.
And when he passed me, I could actually see him in his car because they were going so slow.
In an instant,
the first plane hit.
Everything changed. Sergeant Jarris and others were called back to the area.
I had no idea what was going on in the world, and all I knew is that we were all summoned to get to the president.
This time to get the president to Air Force One at the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport.
When the motorcade came by us, they were flying. I mean, dust was flying. You couldn't even see inside the car.
Sergeant Jarris took on an extra duty. She followed the motorcade to the airport, blocking off an access road, not knowing what would happen next.
And I looked up, and there was a Manatee deputy. Must have had the same idea, because there was a deputy probably a couple hundred feet north of me, and we both just stopped the road, and we had no idea.
As she made her way back to the station, the first images flashed across the TV screens.
And we all just sat in awe with our jaws just dropping, watching what was going on in New York. Couldn't believe it. Once we knew the president was safe, you know, I wanted to go get to New York and see what I could do to help.
It's a day that touched everyone across the country, and one that hits hardest with first responders everywhere.
And I think people shouldn't forget the sacrifices that we did on that day.
In Sarasota, Kimberly Quizon, Fox 13 News.